sort of struggle in life and I'm not connected. Are your values, your core values being fulfilled? Now, I'm not talking about contextual values like family. We're talking about internal motivators, like one of the values is challenge. One of the values is independence. One of the values is tranquility. Give an example. I had a client many years ago, 400% turnover in his employee group. Well, it was a credit collection department, and he was hiring people with the value tranquility is one of their top values. Now, all of us are stunned by it that are listening to this, but here's what his motivation was. He wanted to have the nicest credit collection department in the country. And so this national firm, you would know who it was if I said, but I'm not going to say who it is. But what we did is we helped him to understand that one of the fears and one of the challenges that people have if tranquility is a need is that they hate conflict. Well, what's happens on every call if I'm a credit collection department? There's conflict.
That's good.
So, and based on our work, it actually makes people who have high tranquility biophysically sick and ill, and so they can't sustain it, and that's why they had a 400% turnover. We were able to, in 90 days, drop it to 40% turnover, just like that, by shifting his mindset and hiring people where the value set was aligned with the job. So the question I have for people, first of all, do you know what your core values are? If you don't, then you need to do that step. When I know my core values, then only you as the individual can confirm that those values are most important to you. This is an internal piece. I don't care, as a psychologist, I'm not qualified to tell you who you are. We use methods and processes to be able so that you can know yourself, so that you can have an independent life and not a codependent life with us. From that, then you look at these values and you say, okay, if these are my top 5, 6, 7 values, are they being met or not? If they're being met, what am I doing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, month-to-month basis for that value to be fulfilled? Let's say friendship is one of your values. Am I hanging out with my friends? Am I going to movies with my girlfriends or my guy friends or my friends, whatever? Am I having dinner parties? What's the deal? Or am I just going out for coffee, at Starbucks with them? Or if one of my values is independence and I'm thinking about a new job, but I'm going to have all these micromanagers around me. If it's a negative, then of course that means that I'm either have to change what I'm doing, adjust something what I'm doing, or take it off the list. Because there's the other side. Have you ever had people who say their family's important to them, but they never spend any time with them?
Oh, yeah.
So part of this filtering process is that either own the value or get it off the list. I remember doing a workshop. This is actually when I first started in 1989. There was 20 people in the room. There was a 22-year-old in the back of the room. And top 7 values, every single value had a minus beside it. He was actually almost in tears at this point. And I said, why do you think every value is a minus? He said, my whole life, I've lived what my parents want, not what I want. And so my challenge for everybody is that once you know those values, now you take the steps one by one to start making sure that what's in your life represents those values. That's the deepest level of meaning, of contribution, of fulfillment. And it's not a right, it's not a wrong. We have 21 values that are in our list. It's so powerful. I mean, I can't say enough about how a person be transformed by just doing that activity.
Yes. And you gave that statistic that most of us think we're self-aware, but we're not. I'm just curious. I wish I could get a response from the listeners right now. How many of you sitting here right now would be able to tick off your top 3 or top 5 values? Because it's my guess that most of us think, oh yeah, I'm really self-aware. And then when push comes to shove, we go, be nice to people, I guess. Tranquility, that's a value. Friendship, that's a value. And I think that just goes to show how not self-aware we are. And there's no judgment on that. It's just that our culture and our society doesn't lead to that, doesn't have us question that. Like you said, that kid, nobody probably ever asked him, what are your values?
Right. And what's most important to you? And there's all these social pressures about what you should or shouldn't. There's all these, everybody's shoulding on everybody else. Right. And we just want to encourage that only you can live your life. And it's not about, again, getting way off track, and you want to seek wise counsel. But here's the reality in today's society. You know this. Every single person has an opinion. Very few people have wisdom. And so I never ask somebody who hasn't been there, hasn't done it. I'm not interested in your opinion if I didn't ask for it. I'm really interested in going to people who have been there before me, or getting a coach who is trained, who is skilled, who can ask independent, non-emotional questions, so that it really draws out of me the direction that I need to go or consider. And in the end, I have to make the decision, does that fit for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of sum some of that up for the listeners, the first step maybe would be to become self-aware. Look at some of those values. Decide, who am I? What do I value? And am I living that? Then learn more about their own personal style. Learn how to identify the styles from others. Learn how to style shift, which then increases your efficacy as a leader, as a friend, as a communicator. So you actually have a better life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we talked about paying attention to the clues in life as far as your interests, gifts, and talents. What are the things where you just get energized? So forget the negatives, forget the neutrals, start paying attention, and then start creating a journal of all those events and times and places where you just are energized. Even if it's a 5-minute segment in your life today, start paying attention to that. So when I wrote the autobiography, I worked back, and then we create what we call a word list, a template that said, here are the 16 core words that represent my life. And it's interesting, I would say 95% of my life is represented by those 16 words that we distill down to. It took me 6 months to get to them, but that's the process I have in the Quest for Purpose book. Now, would it be okay to share the gift location right now?
Oh, I want you to share the gift, and I want you to share, your website and all of that amazing stuff so people can start checking you out.
Well, checking me out. Okay, well, there we go. So first of all, and because it's so kind to have me as a guest, I'm going to have every single listener, we're going to give you a free gift. And that gift is found here at my personal website, Keis, KenKeis.com/Laura. I don't have LORA. I don't know how we came up with that. And so that is a hidden page there. And you are going to get a full ebook of my Quest for Purpose book. I'm giving my $30 book away free to you so that you could start engaging and doing it. Now, I want to hear back from you on all that information. Now, from that, you could also go to our CRG site, which has all the assessments and everything there, called CRG Leader, LEADER.com. And, my other books like Why Aren't You More Like Me, Deliberate Leadership, etc., Transforming Leadership, those are all available there. And we'd love to hear from you about how this is working. Of course, you've been through the book, Why Aren't You More Like Me, already. And so again, thanks for reaching out. And when I got in front of this information way back in the 80s, it was transformational for me. We don't hire anybody without it. We don't interact with anybody without engaging it, because it's so powerful. It's sort of like oxygen. It's that important to life. And my encouragement is that you just listen to it over and over, and to the show, and take the steps to go to the next level, because every single person is worthy. Every single person matters. But if you don't own your own space and take responsibility, then nobody else will.
Thank you for saying that. That's wonderful. And yes, listeners, oh my gosh, go download his book, The Quest for Purpose. I mean, after all, you're listening to a show called Build Your Dreams and Live Your Sparkle. And this book is going to help you build your dreams and live your sparkle by helping you get in touch with what it is you really, really want to do. So please do that. And then I just have to put in this last caveat before we close. When I first was introduced to this work, I incorrectly assumed this was just yet another personality style indicator. And I thought, oh, well, that'll be fun. I love learning about me. And I thought, oh, this is so much more than just another personality style indicator. So if you are under the impression that, oh yeah, whatever, no, it's more than that. And I highly encourage you to take his test, learn more about him, because it truly will change your life. So listeners, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. Please go download his free book. Thank you so much for being on my show, Ken. It was a joy.
You are welcome. Thank you.
You are welcome. And listeners, as usual, have a fantastic week, and don't forget to flaunt.
Tune in next time to Flaunt, Build your dreams, live your sparkle with radio host Laura Cheadle every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come release self-judgment, reveal your naked self-worth, and re-choreograph a life filled with joy. Flaunt. Find your fetish, laugh out loud, accept unconditionally, navigate the negative, and trust in your truth. Find out more at lauracheadle.com. That's LoraCheadle.com.